Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Midnight Scholar Society, the July newsletter. So let's jump into wild shit. We've got a lot of wild stuff going on. Today, for context, is July the 23rd, Tuesday of 2024. And if you're American, you definitely know we've been in for a wild time these last few weeks. So I'm going to jump into a lot of different stuff. Just briefly, I'm going to talk about obviously the energies like this week, especially with Kamala Harris jumping into the race and what that has done for the Trump campaign, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm going to just address a few things about what that looks like from a spiritual standpoint and from a decolonized standpoint, because it goes without saying on this channel, we're decolonized here. We don't really fucks with systems of oppression, and so there's some nuance that needs to be fleshed out there, and we're going to jump into that. I also am going to talk about, for those of you who are creatives, we're going to talk about why you just need to start. I'm going to give some great mentions to The Artist's Way, give you like a little brief book review on that. I've been listening to it. It's amazing. I'm also going to talk about how I set up my work week, because I think it's really important to talk about how, especially if you're coming out of burnout, especially as a neurodivergent, how you kind of manage joy and fun in your work. Okay, how work can be play. I think the best title of this was from a book that I absolutely adored by Toshiro Suzuki, and it's Mixing Work with Pleasure. It was his time working at Studio Ghibli. He's the producer of a lot of the Ghibli studio movies, and honestly, great book, especially if you're somebody who's a creative and you also run a business. Definitely read it. Amazing. But we're going to talk about mixing work with pleasure, what that looks like, especially in a healthy way. I'm going to mention the Wayfarer retreat. I think I've gotten just enough people for us to get it all set up and started. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but definitely a lot of the Wayfarer stuff is going to be down below in the newsletter. So those of you watching on YouTube, go ahead and join the newsletter if you're interested in taking classes, or if you're watching this and it just vibes with you, you're probably going to enjoy at least a lot of the stuff that's in the newsletter that I don't post here. I'm going to talk about the Midnight Scholar Society's library. I'm opening up a library. It's donation only, though. It's $1 to donate for a month, and you get access to all of the archive stuff. Because I am working on an astrology book, and I want to update you guys on that, because I told you that it would be coming out at the end of this month, and it has been a massive project. And also, I decided to serialize it. So we're going to talk about that and the Midnight Scholar update, the Midnight Scholar Library update. And those of you who are already subscribed to the Midnight Scholar Society, it's included. Don't worry about donating $1, right? Although I will say, I do feel like $1, I've learned this from another energy reader. He says he always makes people pay at least $1 for a reading, because it makes them take it more seriously. And I have been noticing that some of y'all and some of my the people that I've worked with in consultations and stuff, they will book a second consultation with me before going through the reading list. And I'm always like, you wouldn't have these questions right now if you read some of them books. Okay. So I think it really is important to make sure that, to incentivize people to invest in themselves. So anyways, that and just to run it is going to be super helpful. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And we're going to talk a little bit about a project I've got going on that's kind of about my workflow and how I do that. It's kind of like, I think of it as an astrological bujo of sorts. It's a gamification of sorts. For those of you who don't know, I'm a prompt engineer. I work with AI all the time, and I work over at the Multiverse, which is a school for tech and software engineers. All the people there are miles and leagues beyond me in technicality, and it's amazing to be around these people, because the things that they can do are wild. Right now they've got a bunch of agents playing Minecraft, a bunch of NPCs who are literally playing Minecraft. Anyways, so they build really cool projects and stuff like that, and I do a lot of creativity unblocking and helping people understand their creativity and how to live more productive and creative lives and complete projects and huge things. I'm so proud of so many of the things that come out of that place. But anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, because I've got a project coming up, and I think a lot of people will really find it useful, because I have. Anyway, so let's jump into some of the things I'm really excited for today. What should we cover first? Let's talk a little bit about the astrological stuff of what's going on, and then we'll get into all the creativity, because I feel like if we get kind of the heavy stuff out first, and then we talk about how to divert attention and how to go about life, that's going to make this flow an awful lot better. So obviously, on Sunday, Joe Biden dropped out of the race. We have Kamala Harris running for 2024. for, there's going to be the DNC convention or something like that, where maybe there's some other nominees, things like that. But to be totally honest, in the American system, it's a two-party system. Third parties have never won, so anybody holding out for that is really just kind of being delusional at this point, because the whole system is rigged to be just a two-party system. So it's one of those things where while previously it was choose between two devils that Genocide Joe and Trump. Man, he doesn't even need a name. He's just Trump. Where your options were two devils that you do know, now you finally get an option of a devil you don't. Always go for the devil you don't know when the other one's fascism. Just gonna throw that out there. But let's talk about some of the nuances of that and how you exist in a colonized world while trying to be decolonized, and how you participate in a system of colonization that is dying and all of that kind of stuff while you're actively trying to decolonize. I'm going to explain it like this. You have to be able to hold the perspective of where you are going. This is it in spirituality and alchemy. This is the key to everything. If you know your purpose, and your purpose does not need to be necessarily the reason why you were brought to this earth, although if you know that one, fuck it, chef's kiss, it makes it that much easier. And you will get to know that the more you follow your purpose as you discover it. But your purpose needs to be where you are headed. So what is your dream? Okay, that's it. Know what is your dream. If your dream is to become a novelist, you've got a book in you. You want to write. That's your dream. That's your purpose. Just make your purpose on this earth to write that book. You can do that. You're allowed to do that. You're an adult. This channel's for adults only, really. But you're an adult. You get to do that. Get what I'm saying? So when you know what your purpose is, then you have to ask yourself, how do you apply your attention? What is your attention on that is not that purpose? So you can shift all of the things that are out of alignment with that purpose towards your purpose. Okay? That's how you navigate a colonized system while decolonizing. It's not as simple as, okay, I don't want to participate in this now. I'm going to go somewhere where it's a utopia, where everybody's happy and great, and I'm just going to join their thing and live happily ever after. There's no such fucking thing. Decolonized people can be evil too. Okay? Being decolonized simply means that you have integrity. Okay, you go back to your normal state of human existence before someone else said you had to live for them and live out their intents. That's it. Just go back to your base default, your base settings, whatever that is. And that's going to be different for everybody. But self-actualization is about having integrity. How am I accountable for myself? How do I have self-responsibility? How do I hold myself responsible for my life and for the choices and the consequences of my choices? How I impact others, right? How do I have agency and autonomy? Those four things, that's it. That means, why is that so important? Because you are a living, breathing human being that exists in context. Every single situation that you exist in life, if you apply integrity to that situation, and if you need to know, well, what choices to make, how do I use my agency? Go back to your purpose. What is your overall purpose? If your purpose is to be a novel writer and you're out hanging out with a bunch of friends who've never read a book in their life and they think all that shit's silly and you need to be about your money and your bag, it's probably not going to help your creative energy, right? If you know what your purpose is, and your purpose is to hang around like-minded people, and you're looking around and no one ain't got a similar mindset as you, okay, move to a different place. Does that mean you have to drop your friends? Maybe they're great people and they belong in your life in other ways, but you need to limit the attention that you give to that space. And I don't know, join a writing group. That's, just switch out your Friday nights. Sometimes that's all it takes for people. It doesn't have to be drastic change. The more you put into yourself, the more you have to become self-responsible and accountable, not just for the things that make you comfortable or the things that get you the dream that you want, but in all situations. Now, when you're not writing and you want to do other things, like, I don't know, go to the grocery store. If you have to be and have integrity in order to capture your attention, to put it on the things that your purpose and where you're going, and you fuck with other people, they're going to fuck with you back energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally, and that's going to pull your attention. So it's best to just treat other people with respect, the same respect that you give yourself. integrity, humanity. You see, that's how we get back to the decolonized, centered mind piece. You don't have to uproot your entire fucking life and go live out in the woods somewhere. You just have to be who you choose to be and exist in that. Be the change you wish to see. If you're the change that you wish to see and it's causing you problems in your environment, that's called feedback. Apply the feedback. Do what's necessary to not cause harm to others, right? So if applying the feedback means you got to punch a bitch in the face because they're doing X, Y, and Z, the feedback is real crazy. Why are you in this space? What is your purpose in this space where you have to fight somebody to defend yourself? See what I'm saying? This leads you down to choices about your life, about the situations you're in, the people that you're around. It leads you to question a lot of things, and that can be overwhelming, and it can overstimulate your system. That's where emotional regulation and your nervous system regulation come into play. How you handle those situations, how you handle the choices that you make, and how you handle coming to those choices. And so that's what we talk about all at the Midnight Scholar Society. That's what all the resources are for, right? Is getting you to that place. I just happen to be really good at it because when people project a lot of crazy shit onto you because you live in a colonized world, you have to handle everything that people give to you because it's outside of your control. You know what I'm saying? And the more you're able to handle it in healthy ways, the more you grow and learn and the more wisdom you gain from situations, versus not handling those things, passing them off to someone else. Now, if you're watching my content, you've probably been in a situation at some point in time where someone has shirked off the burden of responsibility onto you, and it's not yours to deal with, and you can't even fix the problem because it's not yours to fix, no matter how much you try, because it's their problem and they keep throwing it at you. You are feeling you're impacted by it, you're damaged, your attention's on it, it's driving you crazy. Maybe it's you're sacrificing things, your own dreams, whatever it is. It's causing you a lot of dismay in your life, right? If you've been in a situation like that, you know what it's like when someone shirks off responsibility, when someone lacks integrity. And so when people do that, it causes a cascade of effect. It's like passing bad energy around. I can't handle myself, so I'm going to lash out and take it out on someone else, who's in turn not going to be able to handle that, is going to lash out and take it out, hurt people, right? Yeah. So how do you stay on your decolonized journey in the midst of what's about to happen? Because let's bring it back to the collective society, right? We have Harris 2024. This is throwing a wrench in a lot of very white, right-wing spaces that are all about white supremacy. So if it throws a wrench, right, in their projections of the future and how they see life going, they're probably going to lash out about a lot of this stuff. Now, does Kamala Harris winning the presidency mean that those people go away? No. Does Kamala Harris running make those people go away? No. Kamala Harris makes it so much easier to spot the people in your environment now who are married to the abusive behaviors of colonization. That's just it. Is Kamala Harris going to save the American system? No. It's collapsing. It's collapsing. You can't colonize people, show them that they're colonized, and then go, oh, just kidding. Do you want to go back to being some people would love to go back to, quote unquote, normal life where they did not have to think about things or exercise autonomy and accountability and integrity and all that kind of stuff. Sure. But a good majority of the people will feel very uncomfortable having to pretend like they didn't see the last nearly 8 years. That's not comfortable for people. So is Kamala Harris, is she going to save anything? No. But is Kamala Harris a stopgap between what was about to happen with Project 2025, which is definitely a dictatorship in which if you have any problems with any of the MAGA stuff, if you've got any problem with that, you're an enemy of the state. Like, that's the stopgap, right? Kamala Harris is the stopgap between that and the time that you have to decolonize, be the change that you want to be in the spaces that you're in without that 2025 retribution, right? Because to be the change you want to see is resistance. When you change internally, you demand of your environment it to change too. or you end up leaving the environment, which creates a void-like energy, which has to be filled. And we talk about this all the time on this on my TikToks and stuff like that. But when you leave a void energy around people who are abusive and oppressive, they have to find a new victim, and that things go wild for those people. It is a life cycle I would never want to be on. I'll just put it that way. It's a timeline you think of your worst enemy. You don't want to be there for that. You don't want to be there for what happens when you leave and they have to find the next one, because it's not going to be anything like what you experienced. You had the resiliency to be a survivor. You don't even want to know. You don't even want to know. And generally what ends up happening to those people is they have to come to terms with exactly what they are, whatever that means for those people. This channel, we don't really dig into that. I am not a guide for those people. I only talk about and share resources for people who are looking for inner guidance, and who are decolonized. So we're not going to get into that nightmare. But what I want to say is Kamala Harris is like a seed planted into the mind of everyone just now. People who are going to sprout nightmares are about to sprout nightmares. People who are going to take advantage of this time and take advantage of the time to be able to turn inward and turn it around for themselves. This is not the life I want to live. I was headed into a space, I live in a state maybe, or I live in a community or around people where if Project 2025 happened, I would not have been safe. If you can say that, if you can turn around and say, I either live now or I did with people that if Project 2025 happened, I would not be safe. Kamala Harris is a stopgap so that you can take the time to go inward and create a reality in which you are safe. That requires joy, it requires creativity, and it requires an awful lot of energy. That's why we talk about alchemy on this channel, and that's what I'm going to get into next when I talk about whatever the creative project is. You just need to start. And I'm telling this I'll give you a little bit about myself for those of you who are in YouTube and who've never come in contact with me before. But obviously, if you're in the Midnight Scholar, this will be a great just understanding. I'm an author. Yes, I decided to go out for that as a young person with a dream. Before that, I was a flautist. And, I was at a magnet school. I did flute. I would have went on to become a professional flute player in an orchestra somewhere, but I didn't want to. Actually, I switched to French horn for a bit in college. Loved the French horn. But I was busy and I wanted to just go into some other things. So I did that. After that, I did education and I went overseas and was hired by a foreign government to teach. Yeah, so, that required an awful lot of manifesting and dreaming. I just wanted to live in Japan, so I manifested an exact opportunity for me to do so. Then I came back and I wanted to go all the way in with writing. While I was an educator, I wanted the time to be able to write my books so that I could be published. Being traditionally published was important to me. And so when I came back, I decided to market myself as a writer. I became an influencer in the book community so that I could get the eyes of editors, publishers, which I did, and that's how I became a traditionally published author. Also that, and I'm a literary critic. As speaking about in the book community, I just did that by way of being myself. I'm a literary critic. Yeah. Because, my degree and all of that kind of stuff, my craft is writing. And so it's just, I use the tools and the talents that I have to manifest the life that I wanted. And here we are now. Everything went wild back in 2020. That was the whole crash of what I was doing, and I got rerouted into spirituality. I always knew that I had something going on spiritually, that there was some type of initiation, like knocking on the door. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. And that's a very common thing in my I want to say amongst, people in my family or my lineage is just that. So, you hear about it growing up and you just think that, whatever. Yeah, no. The ancestors came knocking for me. And then I got rerouted. I was shown what I was supposed to do. And I was like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do that. And I had quite some trials by fire, and here I am. I ended up during my burnout period, because 2020 happened and I had to deal with all sorts of external circumstances that were out of my control. Racism. I ended up, taking that time out to really figure out what I wanted to do, following my fun. And by following my fun, I ended up just like becoming a data scientist in tech. Like, ask me how it happened, how I manifested exactly what I was looking for. by all means, it's, if you read The Artist's Way, I'm going to give a quick blurb on that right quick, is that's the book that I recommend. I'm probably going to teach it as a textbook at some point over at the Midnight Scholar during classes when we talk about creativity, because it is a must. The Artist's Way will tell you and give you the pave the path. We're not here to reinvent the wheel. Julia Cameron wrote down some really great things. I have tried, they're tried and true. I have done these things in my own life before reading the book and after reading the book, with the specific guidance of Julia Cameron to like really get nuanced and deep with it. Man, transformative, okay? And I'm hard to impress. So with that being said, following my own creativity, I ended up jumping into data science, and I learned everything over the course of a year. How? Because I'm also an adult who has an awful lot of talents and skills, so I had a lot of relational learning. But that's the point, is the older you grow, and I know a lot of you are in your late 20s and your 30s, and there's quite a few of you are up to 45, the older you are, the faster you learn new skills. You're not too old to do anything. The older you are, the better you will be if you just do the damn thing. So I really want everybody to hear that. The older you are, the better you will be if you just do the damn thing. Now, that doesn't mean don't do anything and wait until you're 60 because you'll be great. No. The older you are, when you decide to do something new, the better you'll be. But you also have to be the type of person who's willing to do something new. And that's not somebody who waits until they're 60. I'm 25, I'll just wait until I'm 60 and I'm retired to become that painter. No, don't wait. The point is that the more life skills you have, the more experience you can lend to whatever you're learning. So for me, I was able to do that with data science, and I was shocked at how quickly I was able to synthesize and process information. Also, that's one of my talents, so grain of salt, but still. And with that, I became a prompt engineer with AI, and that's how I just, in a roundabout way, ended up creating the Midnight Scholar Society, because I am somebody, I like to do it all, and I like doing things on my own with just myself, because I really enjoy being able to go at my own pace, and I go really fast. So some people go slower than I do, and I just like to go fast, do what I like to do, fuck off, do fun stuff, enjoy my life, and then come back and do things and be weird about it. And so I end up doing projects on my own, and through working with AI and getting into technology, I was able to run a business that would take at least 10 people, I think, honestly, easily. My work days are really small, and also I get to reach an awful lot of people. I get to do what I love, and I get to go be creative and do the other things that I love. I am running the Midnight Scholar Society along with the library, but I'm also still an author. And I also have other creative interests that I like to follow and do. I have time to take myself out on dates. I have time to spend with my family and all sorts of stuff. So I'm saying all of that to say this. Whatever it is that you want to do, the creative thing that you want to do, just start. You do not need to be motivated or to have tons of inspiration. Oftentimes what you need is courage. I'm going to leave Vanessa's TikTok down below. I've been recommending it for quite some time, but she's really hitting the nail on the head when it comes to being an adult creative. And I think she also offers a book club, which I'm probably going to end up checking out, because, or at least I need her reading list. I already have too many things that I got to show up for. But what I want to say is you need to have courage. You need to have courage. Courage is totally different than inspiration and motivation and all that kind of stuff. Courage is I'm feeling vulnerable and I'm resistant, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we're going to talk a lot about that as time goes on. Over at the Midnight Scholar when it comes to classes, as I'm going to talk about the next month's classes. There's going to be a poll down below of whether you guys want to do elemental work or continue on with astrology, or if you'd like to take that break with astrology, because we just finished the 12 houses, and I know it's a lot. It's really good, but you need the time to digest it. And before we jump into the planets, we might start talking about elemental work so that you can really start getting a sense of how elements are in your natural world materially, and how they interact non-materially. But before I get into that, just to wrap up, just start the project. When it comes to creativity, and I teach this over at the Multiverse, there are tons of blocks. The Artist's Way, the book, will help you get through those blocks. I will constantly be telling you tips and tricks on how to get through blocks. Just start. And I'm going to give you a tip really quick from The Artist's Way. Great thing. 2 things to do that should really kick you off before you go to the library. If you love audiobooks, get Libby. Go get your library card to the public library before. If Kamala 2024 goes through, you don't got to worry so much about the libraries going away in a snap, okay? That will happen much slower or not at all, depending on Kamala Harris, okay? So we'll just see. But my point is go get your fucking library card, get Libby, Libby, that app, and you can get your ebooks and your audiobooks right there on your phone. Get The Artist's Way. Go ahead and check it out from the library, or go purchase yourself a copy. I think I'll leave an affiliate link or something like that down below. And get to it. But 2 things I'm going to mention from the book. Morning pages. Morning pages are when you wake up in the morning. I do this on my laptop. Got my laptop right here. And I do this. I'm an author. I mentioned that 1,000 times. I use Scrivener. That's a software for a lot of authors use. And I love it because I'm able to organize everything in there. But really, you can use a notebook. It really doesn't matter what you do. All you need is the ability to write and right when you wake up. I tend to get up around 5:30 in the morning sometimes, so I'm up early in the morning. I like my laptop. Write 3 pages or 1,500 words. Just write about what you dreamed. Write about what's bothering you. Write about the stuff that you hate. Write about whatever you're feeling. Be petty, be happy, be hopeful. Just write. What you're trying to do is just get yourself express. The morning pages will reveal everything, okay? I am telling you this, and I'm going to tell you a secret that obviously a lot of writers don't like to tell everybody, but when you write, you talk to God, okay? Or gods, depending on how many you interact with at any given time or any one point in time. But yeah, it is a place where you channel and you can really uncover an awful lot of things that you may be ignoring. In other words, you've got 4 bodies: your spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical body. And at any given time, living in an oppressed space, especially if you're neurodivergent, you start to ignore those other bodies and you only identify with one at a time. Usually what people are identifying with is their emotional or mental bodies. If you have physical issues and it takes you a really long time to notice that something's hurt, you're not really identifying with your spirit or your physical body. If you haven't felt creative in a really long time, or you just don't have any ideas, or you just don't know, like this and that, every time you think to do something creative, you end up doing laundry instead, you're not attached to your spiritual body. When you write in the morning, all 4 bodies are speaking. All you have to do is put your attention on it. You can even write like this. Spiritually, I feel. Emotionally, I feel. My thoughts about whatever are. My thoughts are. Physically, I feel. You can write about what happened to you. Just start 3 pages. And the second thing I'm going to mention from that is artist dates. Artist dates are the things that you take yourself to do. Something fun. This is not like, don't go and join a pottery class because you're looking to seriously get into pottery and turn it into some type of marketable business. No, the artist date that you're going to do is something fun for your inner child. If you're going to the pottery class, it's because you want to just do it and see what it's like. And if you make something decent, great. If not, that's fine too. Going to the park and having a picnic by yourself. These are things that you do on your own, nobody else, where you just go out and exist and have a little bit of fun. Let your inner child just do something. Take dance classes, just get out of it. Now, again, to know more about why that stuff works, get The Artist's Way, or, obviously just, I'm going to mention all that stuff as we go at some point in time, in classes and etc. And like I said, I might at one point in time teach The Artist's Way, use it as a textbook in one of the courses that we do on creativity. But yeah. Those 2 things. Now, before we go, I'm going to mention the Wayfarer retreat, because this is a bit about, the Wayfarer retreat. I just have enough people to sign up. There's only 6 people that I have the capacity for, but we've met the amount of people who are interested for me to go ahead and send out some informationals on it. If this sounds like you, go ahead and you can just send me an email, respond to the Midnight Scholar Society at gmail.com, saying that you're interested in the retreat. If you're somebody who just wants to have fun with your life, You already know that it's possible for you to do the things you want to do and have fun. You know that it's possible for you to have a career and actually enjoy it. You know that it's possible to have fun and friendships. You know that it's possible to have fun and romance. You know that it's possible for you to exist and have fun doing whatever it is that you choose to do. But for some reason, somewhere along the way, you've forgotten how. Okay? This retreat is probably for you. For the most part, let me talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing on the retreat. It's all going to be about, we're going to do it in November, I think late October or early November. I'm going to make sure it coincides with the Day of the Dead, because it's going to be in Mexico. So during the retreat, it's all about transformation. And what we're going to be transforming at that retreat is you're going to have, this is for people who know what they want to do. If you're confused at all about what creativity you have and what you should do, you might be interested. But this is truly for people who know what that thing is. If you've got a book in you, if you are a painter, if you are a baker, if you are whatever that creativity thing is, but you've just been holding it off, this is probably best for you, because what we're going to do is we're going to set the intent for you to manifest that particular aspect of you. I'm going to teach you how to quantum jump. It's way easier than you all think. I'm going to teach you how to ground that energy, and also how to shift your attention so that everything in your reality populates towards that thing that you're trying to manifest. Quite frankly, it's a lot easier than you think. It's a lot easier than you think. It's a lot easier than I thought, okay? And honestly, if it's easier than I think, I already think everything's easy. It was way easier than I thought. You're going to really enjoy yourself. So yeah, we're going to do a lot of different exercises throughout the day, mindfulness. We're going to focus on the 4 bodies and just kind of do a reset. Now, I will say this is we're going to honor a lot of the energy that's in this area during the Day of the Dead, and there will be an act. I'm going to teach you what sacrifice actually means, because there's a lot of it in mythology. Sacrifice is always considered something to do with like heavy death and kind of, physical death, but it's not. Sacrifice is when you take something that does not serve you and you trade that for the thing in which you want to do. Meaning, when that thing comes up that does not serve you, you take that energy and you put it into the path, the creative path that you're walking on. And again, I have a rumination spell that kind of hints on a bit of that and stuff. So I'm just going to be teaching a lot of that during the Wayfarer retreat. But for the most part, we're going to learn how to have fun and get out of your head. That's mostly what most of y'all really need to unblock creativity. And it's going to be a lot of fun. There's food included and all sorts of stuff. Again, there's going to be more information down below. Just send me an email and the newsletter if you want more information on that, because there's going to be like about 2 spots left, honestly. And depending on how that goes, we'll see. We'll do way more stuff. And then last, before we leave, I want to leave you with this of what's coming up. Oh, I talked about the Midnight Scholar Library. So I'm going to start serializing the books that I write. So everything that, there's so much shit to do. I'm always shocked at how much I have to do and all the time. And but anyways, I'm going to be serializing the astrology book 1 chapter at a time. Those of you on the newsletter, you'll be able to see like some of the first chapter, but all you have to do is donate $1 to the library, and every week I think it'll be is when I just upload chapters. And for the astrology book, that's like 12 chapters. There's going to be like 13 maybe in total, or 14 if you include an introduction and like a conclusion and references and stuff, but those will just be a given. But yeah, those will be there. Obviously, you can always still purchase the full binded copies of things, digital, and eventually if I start self-publishing these into physical copies, you'll be able to purchase those separately. But the library is for everybody who just wants the information and who's willing to go along on the ride as I get it up. Because there's a lot to put out and a lot to do, but I am still one person. Even though I've got a lot of automated stuff, it still does not make me go faster. It just takes a lot off my plate that I don't have to worry about, so I can focus on things. That, and 2, I want to kind of leave everybody off with a little bit of a gift. 2 gifts. 1, the Just Start Your Creative Thing. There's a gift for you. I'm going to give you all my, as a reminder, the first book that I ever wrote. It's The Keeper's Vow. Absolutely. I still love that book. I still love to read it, and I'll get lost in it because it's still so great. But also as an artist, there's 1,000 things that I see that I could go back and do. Like 1,000 things. Why? Because what you do is never finished. The point of starting isn't perfection. The point of starting something isn't to be perfect. The point of starting something is to fucking get it down, to just do it, okay? And when I tell you there is nothing that I feel more proud about than going back and experiencing stuff that I poured a lot of love into, that's going to fill up your cup more than anything that you think you can get from doing it. Is the ability to experience something that you've always wanted to experience, what's inside of you. So I'm going to give you that as a gift. Read it, or just, I don't know, put it somewhere where you see it and it just reminds you to go start your thing. But yeah, I'm going to put that down below also in the newsletter. And also last thing is I want to let you guys know a little bit about working with energies. I told you. So I'm doing data science and I'm working with AI. And I've kind of figured out how to set up my weeks for a bit of success. It has to do with tarot. I use a pendulum. You can use a dice or like 2 rocks that use yes or no, right? And I also use a bit of gamification. For those of you who don't know what that means, it just means when you turn to do or task into games so that you're more likely to do it. But instead of just turning it into a game for myself, I started using a role-playing game. An RPG. I use my planetary energies as my team. I use the transits of what's going on astrologically, and I combine all that together along with what my goals are, what projects I'm doing, and I use the tarot, I use the pendulum, and my team to figure out where my focus should go, what I should put my energy into that day for the best possible outcome. And I'm working on this as a project. I'll probably end up sharing more with you guys on it. And then eventually, as I go along, I'll probably either give you guys like PDFs or something like that so you can set up your own system. But when I tell you that it's amazing. It's amazing because what you'll be able to see between morning pages, artist dates, and this kind of like astrological bujo is how the world conspires to help you achieve whatever you put your attention to. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for that. Yeah. So yeah, that's it, everybody, for now. Again, classes, I'm going to leave a poll down below for all of you at the Midnight Scholar Society who are subscribed to go ahead and vote on what classes you want for August, because that's going to be a ton of fun. And 2, last announcement, I wanted to say something about, maybe that's it. Yeah. Maybe that's it. Oh, yeah. Last class this week, just as a reminder, last class this week is Thursday, the 25th at 6 o'clock Central Time. If you're in class, the Discord is where I always answer all the questions that are in class first before I look at anything on live. And if you just want to listen in or something like that, go ahead and join the live. It's our last live community class session for a little bit. I'm answering natal chart questions to some degree, and I give like sometimes a little lecture on whatever the energies are, this, that, and the other. And then on top of that, Tuesday the 30th, I think. Yeah, maybe. But Tuesday is book club day, where we're going to talk about the ugly duckling story of women who run with wolves. And wow, that one is so hard for me to get through. I think there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack, and I just want to go ahead and encourage everybody who is reading Women Who Run with Wolves, definitely join the book club chats, because there is so much that gets unpacked in those, and it is amazing, especially when we come together. And this is part of community actualization, y'all. When you come together as a group, you're able to unlayer way more than you can ever do alone. And that's the beauty of connecting with other people. It's not so that other people can serve you in one way or the other, or so that you personally can feel safe, or so that you can see the world that you want to see. It's about the magic that happens when we come together and we put our attention on one thing. That's it. And so that's all I've got for today. And this might be the last newsletter in July. I've been doing a lot, y'all. So look out for all the goodies, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.